Hey everybody, welcome back to How to Make a Soundtrack. First of all, sorry that I took so long to post this new episode. I've been a bit busy lately, but let's begin with the video. This episode is gonna be a bit different because I'm not gonna talk about melody and harmony, but I'll focus on sound design. So this track is a scary ambient track which uses a lot of different synths, and I'll explain how I made each one. So let's play it back. Okay. So I use various types of synthesis methods. Let's begin with this synth here, this bass. I'll take off the reverb so you can hear better the sound. And so I made this in Serum, this synth made by Xfer. It's a great synth because you can visualize things, helps you understand better. So I'm using frequency modulation here, or FM, which is it's a type of synthesis that modulates an oscillator modulates the pitch of another oscillator. So I have these two oscillators, and this one is modulating the pitch of this one. So let me demonstrate what it sounds like. If I modulate the pitch of this synth, this oscillator with an LFO, let me play a higher note. So that you can hear the pitch oscillating, and I can increase the speed. But if I increase the speed way up, like 200 hertz, which is 200 times a second, or 400 hertz, or even higher, you create a really weird sound. Wait, let me remove this LFO. So you create this effect, and I'm using these sine waves here. The sine waves are the most pure type of synth sound because it has no harmonics. Here is a saw wave, a triangle, and a square, which are the most basic shapes. But the sine waves are more muffled because they don't have high harmonics. So it sounds really sounds like guts, like bowels moving. Sounds really muffled and creepy. And I'm using a filter here to take off a little bit of the high frequencies that are created when I use FM. So I'm using reverb too. So now the next sound, this buzzing sound. Let me take the reverb off again. So now I'm using Unison, which is when you take a waveform and multiply the voices. So if I do this, you can visualize the 6 voices. Like here's one voice, 2. You can select how many you want. I'm using 6 in this case, and this knob here adjusts the detune of each voice. So here every voice is in tune right in the center, but if I start spreading them apart, it starts sounding detuned. And it sounds really upsetting. And I'm using a filter again, a low pass filter too. Otherwise it sounds really aggressive. I want it to be a little bit more suspenseful than aggressive. And it has a slow attack and release. It just creeps in. So now the next sound, this. Let's get this bell here. These bells. These bells are a preset from Operator, which is a synth that comes with Ableton, but I adjusted the preset because I don't like using presets because you are restricting yourself to what someone else made. So I always, if I do use a preset, I always want to adjust a few things until I'm completely satisfied with the sound. So here it's frequency modulation again, using sine waves. You can see here the shape. There's a bunch of shapes. And there's a little bit of distortion and reverb. So it creates that bell sound. Now let me show you this one here. Again, I'm using frequency modulation, but this time it's kind of different because it sounds really like another method of synthesis called sync. The sync knob adjusts the... Oh, let me get the other one. The sync knob adjusts the when you want to loop the waveform back. So when it's like this, the audio is playing the wave and then it loops back and plays that wave really fast, repeatedly. But you can put it out of sync a little bit, like this. So it's looping like that, but for example, if I put it here, it will play this and then it will loop back right at the beginning. So, or like this, it plays this and then loops back. So when you put this out of sync, it creates some high frequencies and high harmonics. I'll take off the reverb so you can hear it in the delay. It's a little loud, right? You can hear the harmonics rising, like the tone is playing and there's an overtone rising. And then I put a filter and some detune. So the funny thing is that when you use frequency modulation using two saw waves, it sounds really similar to sync, to using sync in a saw wave. Creates those harmonics, and it was it was right about here. So that's how I made this. That's why I call it sync, because it sounds a lot like using sync. And I recorded a reverb tail of this synth and reversed it. You can click here on reverse. So I recorded this and clicked on reverse. Gotta raise the volume. So it creates an anticipation for this sound. Now this final synth here, you can see that in the spectrum here it's really in the high register here, because I'm using a band pass. Again, taking off the reverb so you can hear it better. It has a really slow attack. Takes almost 6 seconds to reach full volume. I'm using a saw shape here because it has a lot of high harmonics and a band pass filter this time. So the band pass cuts off the low frequencies and the high frequencies, but you can adjust where you want it. And I wanted it right about here to have some high frequencies here, so it creates that kind of watery sound, like waves splashing, you know. I wanted to have multiple different types of sounds. So there's a bass note, which sounds really deep and muffled, and I have some synths in the higher register and the higher frequencies, and some in the middle frequencies, like this one, like this one, and the bells. Well, so that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.